Hello, and welcome to another episode of Adventures with Time. I'm your host, Bob. Well, it's Sunday afternoon here on the East Coast, and it's just starting to snow. Looks like we're in for about a half a foot of snow overnight. So I figured I'd break out a small set of 6 vintage women's watches that were passed on to my wife and I. Some common, some very unusual. So let's take a look. Let's first take an overall look at this collection. Starting out on the left here, we have an Omega, followed by a Bulova that's been branded Dior, a Gubelin, a Hamilton, a Seiko, and an interesting Timex. Let's now zero in on each one of these watches. First up is this Omega stainless steel model, 21 millimeters in diameter and a thickness of 8 millimeters with that Omega signed crown. I can't give you much information because I can't open up the case back. I don't have the appropriate tool. That's something I need to get. And as you can see, the bracelet, if I can get this to focus, is a fairly inexpensive Speedel expandable bracelet. It's got a lug width of 10 millimeters and a lug to lug of 28. So I'm hoping to eventually be able to open it up and find out more about what the model number is and the movement number. This little Bulova model is very interesting. It's branded Dior. It's got some sort of black dial. I don't know if that's like an onyx dial or something else. And it's got this integrated gold mesh strap. You can see the model number, I believe, is 133100NI, and that it's in 14 karat gold case. And somewhere here on the bracelet clasp, you can see it's also 14 karat gold. The movement of this watch is number 5AT, as in Apple Tom. I've been trying to get some information about the watch. It's got a reference number on the case back inside as B713. But I'm still trying to research when it was made. Overall dimensions on this are about 14 and a half square. It's got a thickness of 6 millimeters. It doesn't really have lugs, and it weighs about 19 grams. Next up is this watch brand, Gubelin, that I had never heard of before. I tried to do a little research, and if I found the right company, it's a watch and jewelry maker from Switzerland that started out in the mid-1800s, 1854, and was quite successful in Switzerland with several shops. And as you can read in some of the articles I found, and I'll leave links in the description below, they not only made watches with other movements like ETA, but they made some of their own movements, which I believe this watch has. It doesn't seem to have a movement number, but it is certainly branded Gubelin. This watch is marked as 18 carats. I assume that's 18 carats white gold, but I can't be sure. The bracelet does have some odd markings on it, which I'll have to investigate. The watch overall is 15 millimeters square with a thickness of 7 millimeters. It does have this odd stamping on the side. I've tried to use my magnifying loupe to see what it is, but I can't quite make it out. It does have 9 millimeter lugs as well as an overall lug to lug of 24 millimeters. So this will be a fun watch to try to research over the coming days. Here's a cute little Hamilton watch. It measures 14 by 16 millimeters. It is 14 carats gold filled, at least the case is. The bracelet is a fairly inexpensive Spidel or Speedel bracelet. It's got a very plain back, just marked Hamilton. And the movement is numbered 911. So I'll have to do some research to find out when this was actually manufactured and what era it comes from. Moving down the line, we have a fairly basic Seiko quartz watch. It's got a numbering down at the bottom, which is 1421-0940T, and a similar number on the inside case back of 1421-0119R1. And once again, we have our Spidel bracelet. This is a 19 millimeter watch, 6.5 millimeters in thickness, with a lug width of 10 millimeters and an overall lug to lug of 26 millimeters. I have not opened up the back to see what kind of a movement it is. I'm not that interested. It's clearly a quartz watch. And finally, we have this Timex Indiglo quartz watch. I'm told it's for nurses. They wear it on their lapel like this. Actually, it would be hanging down like this so they can pick it up and see what time it is. It's a quartz movement. Don't know what this button on the side does. I haven't opened it up to try to put a new battery in. It doesn't have an additional seconds hand, so I don't think it's a stopwatch. Maybe it is used to stop the timing so you can get an accurate time interval. Back is simply marked with stainless steel. I think the CR1025 is the battery number, and you can see this watch was made in the Philippines. Not something I'd ever use, but an interesting timepiece in itself. Well, there you have it. We're not sure what we're going to do with these watches. They're of a time period where women wore very small watches. Matter of fact, I find them hard to read the time. As I said, I've been trying to research some of these watches on the internet, finding out when they were made, what the movements are, even what their value is. I haven't had a lot of luck finding some good resources. So if any of you out there have some suggestions or guidance for me, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you'll be notified when I post my next video.